All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about Jamar Chase and the kind of contract that he wants. Wants a little bit more than his former LSU teammate Justin Jefferson. But I did want to acknowledge that Natty Ron, who has been in the chat in the past, has returned. So I wanted to acknowledge that he made some comments in the chat when I went to break. So what's going on, man? Hope everything is well. He said, been out working, but football season is back. That is correct. He's a diehard Bengals fan. He's saying the rumor is that Jamar Chase could be getting paid before kickoff Thursday, the same way they did Joe Burrow's announcement. I really hope that's the case because, for me personally, I have him in one of my fantasy leagues, and I need him to come back. Because he was my first pick. And I'm banking on him and Joe Burrow to have a great year together, and the Bengals have a good year. So I really hope that's the case, because this cannot extend into the regular season. That's going to be a problem. So that would be great if that's the case. I mean, and I think the Bengals really want to get a deal done because they don't want him missing time. But it's just interesting to me that he's got 2 years left on his deal, and, he wants his new deal now. Now, it kind of makes sense because everybody, like every receiver got paid this offseason, it seems. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, like literally all the top receivers. Tyreek Hill got a new deal. All the top receivers got new deals. And I guess he just felt like, where's my new deal? Now, the Bengals, I think, would have, given him that new deal with 1 year left. They could have got something done then. Natty Ron says, if they don't do it now, it's definitely going to be expensive next year. Yeah, it's true. Because Jamar Chase, he could go out there and, put up insane numbers, kind of like what CeeDee Lamb did, and then the price is higher. And then he also said, Natty Ron says, it's a rare case, just like a quarterback, you might have to pay this guy. Yeah, my thing is this. I was always under the impression that the Bengals were going to, pay Jamar Chase. My thing is, T. Higgins, he'd be on his way out and getting his money elsewhere. So I was never under the impression that, Jamar Chase had really anything to worry about. I was looking at it as they're prioritizing Jamar Chase. They're going to let T. Higgins walk. That's why they drafted another receiver. They're going to let T. Higgins walk. They're going to give Jamar Chase a lot of money. But Jamar Chase wants his money now. And does he deserve to get paid? Absolutely. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. But it's just kind of interesting how he's got 2 years left on his deal, but he wants it done now. But yeah, so he wants to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. He's holding out to secure a new deal that matches or exceeds Jefferson's 4-year, $140 million contract, which averages $35 million a year. This comes from Ian Rappaport. And, a comparison between Jefferson and Chase. So, Chase's LSU stats from 2019, he had 1,780 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had 1,540 receiving yards and 18 touchdowns. And then, their NFL stats, Chase has had 268 receptions, 3,717 receiving yards, and 29 touchdowns. Jefferson, 324 receptions, 4,825 receiving yards, and 25 touchdowns. They're two of the top receivers in the NFL. And Chase wants to get his money, and he deserves it. Now, is he going to get that kind of money? We'll see. We'll find out in the coming days if, Natty Ron's, birdie is correct, and that, he gets paid on Thursday, but we got to wait and see. He also said in the chat, just saying if the Bengals pay him, the whole motto and vibe will change on that team for the good. Boy, the ultimate goal is to get to New Orleans. Yeah, I mean, look, if they get this out of the way, then they can move forward. Yeah, I know what you meant, Natty Ron. They want to get to the Super Bowl. But yeah, you get this out of the way, you get this squared away, and you can move forward. And then see what happens. I mean, I think this is the last time you're going to see Burrow, Chase, and Higgins all on the same team together. I think T. Higgins, this might be it for him. I mean, it would be interesting imagine if like Jamar Chase ended up leaving somehow, forcing his way out, and then T. Higgins ended up staying. But that's not going to happen. I think it's going to be T. Higgins that ultimately is going to leave and find a new deal somewhere else. But we'll see. Natty Ron also says in the chat, do you think the NFL will take the Bengals more serious? Because lately it's just been a lot of jokes about this team. Well, what kind of jokes? I mean, this team made it to the AFC Championship game back-to-back years. Last year they were going to make the playoffs, but Joe Burrow got hurt. I haven't really heard anybody making jokes about the Bengals. A lot of pundits don't believe that the Bengals can even make it to the playoffs because of the division. That I can understand. I mean, the division is the best division in football. Every team in that division is going to be making a playoff push this year. Even the Steelers, if you have your complaints about their quarterback position. I can understand that. I feel like there's people that they have concerns about the Bengals defense, that it's not as good as it has been the past couple of years. Maybe that's one thing to look at. The offensive line, well, we'll see how that is this year. I mean, that's you want to make sure that's intact because, you want to protect your quarterback. They don't have Tyler Boyd anymore. Joe Mixon, they sent to Houston to play for the Texans. They brought in Zach Moss. Mike Gesicki is now there at the tight end spot. But you still got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And that is one of the best duos in the NFL when it comes to receivers. So I don't really know where have you been seeing jokes about this team? Because this team is not a joke. Because if Joe Burrow's healthy, now if Joe Burrow's not healthy, then no one's really going to take this team seriously. No offense to Jake Browning because he did a nice job filling in for Burrow, but yeah, I don't really know what you mean there with people making jokes. Because if Joe Burrow is healthy, this team could go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So, but I do understand though that maybe Burrow isn't healthy, and because of the division that they play in, maybe they one of my friends thinks the Bengals are going to finish in last in their division, which I don't think. I don't think so. I think with the healthy Burrow, they finish at least in second place, or they're going to be battling it out with the Ravens, I think, for first place. But the lowest I think they're going to finish is second place. Natty Ron also says, I think the Dolphins can win the AFC East and Bengals win the North. Can the Bears be sneaky good? The Dolphins have the talent to win the division. I, believe it or not, have them finishing in third in the division. I have them finishing in third. Bengals, I think, can win the North. I think I'm going to take the Ravens to win the North, but yeah, I think they're gonna. I think it's the Ravens are gonna win the North. Bengals are gonna make it as a wild card team. I do think the Bears can be good. I have them winning 9 games. I think they're gonna be a team that they're gonna start off slow, but they're gonna get hot towards the end of the year. I think they might just miss the playoffs because I know when I was going through it, the wild card teams that I had in the NFC, I didn't have the Bears included in that. So I think they're just gonna miss out on the playoffs. So, we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, I think they could be good because the Bears have a lot of talent. And I've said it. It's hard for me to see them not have a good year. Now, the one thing you could point to is the head coach, Matt Eberflus, not being the guy, but I don't know. The defense played well towards the end of the year. I love their receiving core. I like their offense, and Caleb Williams looks like, he's going to be the guy. So, we got to see. Their first game is against the Titans in week 1. So, we'll see what happens there. But then we got a little bit off topic because we're talking about Ja'Marr Chase. But, yeah, I hope Ja'Marr Chase does get his contract. Like I've been saying, I think if he misses any time, I think that hurts him. You got to be out there with your teammates. Try to work through this. The Bengals do want to pay you. It's just, I mean, again, it's all behind closed doors, these negotiations, so we'll see how it goes. Natty Ryan also says, I see Chicago getting a wild card. I really like this defense and their wide receivers. Yeah. And if Caleb Williams plays well, I mean, because, you go back to 2012. You had 3 rookie quarterbacks make the playoffs. He could definitely do that. But I know, because when I was going through it, I had Dallas as one wild card team. I had the Rams as another wild card team. And I forget who else I had. Oh, and I had one of the NFC North teams. But it wasn't the Bears. I had, the Packers or the Lions are going to be the other wild card team. So that leaves the Bears out of it. Natty Ron also says the safeties will be great and the quarterbacks will be good. I'm more concerned about the defensive line. I'm expecting a little bit more from Sheldon Rankings. Yeah, we'll see. I know Sheldon Rankins was brought in to replace DJ Reader. Trey Hendrickson you still got. I know they brought over Geno Stone from the Ravens. So, yeah, we'll see. That's probably the one thing that I'd be concerned about. Well, I'd be concerned about Burrow's health, but also how is the defense going to play? Stopping the run is a major problem. Yeah, no, you got to make sure you do that. And Rankins is a good player, so hopefully, that helps you guys out. But let me know what you guys think, though, about Ja'Marr Chase. Does he get his new contract, or is this going to extend into the regular season? So we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we will talk about Deshaun Watson and his contract restructure. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.